Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Dynamic. Berto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, but we are having some issues. The connection, it seems, between our Restreamer and Facebook is down. I found that out from I was at KPFT and noticed that it was down. I have no idea why it is down. We have no control over that. So please, folks, please go over there. Though, tell your friends who normally watch on Facebook or elsewhere that the place to watch it today is going to be either on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Once again, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, and you'll be able to see the program there. That is how we're going to do it today. Well, let me go ahead and get a link and run to the Facebook page and put that in there because we have a great show for you today. And we want to make sure as many people watch it live as possible. But for those unable to see it live, of course, you know how that goes. Wow. Let's see. It's actually my Politics Done Right page seems to be down. I don't know why. I got to figure that one out. Anyhow, we'll figure out what's going on there. We'll figure out what's going on Facebook in a little bit. Anyway, folks, we are going to have, we'll have a great show for you today. I don't know where everything else is, huh? It looks like, let me see. It looks like there are several, is it the Facebook that's down altogether? I don't know. Because I'm trying to get to Facebook and somehow, let's see. Yeah, it looks like Facebook is down, at least from my end here. Okay. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much. Anyhow, let's go ahead. I'm going to start with Michael Rudnin's. Well, let me welcome everybody here. Bridge MCP, welcome to Politics Done Right. AVQ, Michael Rudnin, welcome. Peggy Lopez, welcome. At least we still have folks on YouTube. Let's see who else is here. I don't see anybody else here, so let's go ahead and fill this up. See what is going on right now. For some reason it said my account is locked. I guess I got to figure it out. It says locked until October 21st. There's something going on. We got to figure that out. We'll figure that out later on. Anyhow, folks, let's continue with the program. Very, very, very important. Okay, what's today's date? October 21st? Yep, today's October 21st. All right. Let's get busy. To start the program, I'm going to start with Michael Rudnin's stuff. It says, common dreams to save Social Security and Medicare. Democrats urge to head off GOP debt limit ploy. A group of House Democrats led by Representative Brandon Boyle collecting signatures for a letter urging House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to use the dwindling months of the current Congress to take legislative actions that will permanently undo the threat posed by debt limit. Second one, our nation stands alone in the idea that if a budget isn't passed, government shuts down. Most other nations just reset to the previous year's budget. While next year's budget ironed out, Democrats could fix this problem permanently if they choose to. Yes, eliminate the filibuster. The Mississippi River reached record low levels this week, lower in some areas than any since records began to be kept. Indeed, as of October 18, 2022, the Mississippi River had hit a record low of minus 11.1 feet at Memphis, Tennessee. Wow, that's a big drop. In fact, the National Weather Service said that the water levels from Cairo, Illinois to Baton Rouge, Louisiana were so low that commercial activities such as barge traffic and riverboats were experiencing difficulty navigating. And there's a lot of silt there. And number 3 or 4, why is this happening? Drought 2022 saw a hot, dry summer in much of the United States. Likewise, the heat and lack of rain affected the amount of water hitting areas that feed into the Mississippi River. The Mississippi source is 2,350 miles north of the Gulf of Mexico. Minnesota, in the drought monitor, you can see the large areas of drought that extend along the length of the Mississippi River. 404, as if the drought that's affecting the American Southwest wasn't bad enough, there's environmental impact from climate change that's also currently affecting inlets in the Mississippi River. I can only hope that this is temporary situation and not permanently uninhabitable. Pardon to those on YouTube who I just spammed with much more commentary than usual. You did great. How can I post them? I'm going to 8-minute video on Salt Lake AVQ. Thank you. Hey, guys, I am going to play this video. Remember I said, since enough media has not been given coverage to Biden on all the great things that were done for our students, etc., all of us in the independent media, to ensure that we don't get the continued crap from Republicans, have got to get the message out, which is what I am going to do right now with what Biden did earlier today. Actually, it just came out. I just processed it. So let's go ahead and get there, and we'll take it on the other side.
8 weeks ago, I announced that my administration is going to provide $10,000 in debt relief to everyone, and then this who has that much debt or up to that much debt, and $20,000 if you received a Pell Grant and your income was under $125,000. It's a plan for people who took out federal student loans before July of this year. And a few days ago, I launched an online application process where you can apply for that debt relief. So folks, one of the things I wanted to make sure is we didn't end up where we're in a position that Barack and I are in terms of the affordable. It was made a little bit more difficult, but we made sure we tested it. We tested it for a weekend to see how it worked, John. And guess what? It worked. Almost 9 million people signed on. Folks, if you have student debt, you got a time limit now. If you have student debt, you can go to studentaid.gov. Studentaid.gov. Fill out, it's very easy. Fill out your name, your social security number, your date of birth, and contact information. No forms to upload. No special login to remember. Available in English and Spanish, desktop and mobile. And folks, it takes less than 5 minutes. If you need additional information, we'll follow up with you. This is a game changer. We're hearing from people all over the country. I have over 10,000 students have written me letters so far, literally 10,000 so far. It's easy to apply as signing up while hanging out with your friends or at home and watching a movie. The vast majority are applying on their phones. And it's easy. It's just simply, it's easy. Now, less than a week, just close to 22 million people have already given us information to consider this life-changing relief. My commitment when I ran for President of the United States, that if I was elected, I'd make the government work and deliver for the people. A simple application process keeps that commitment, just as I'm keeping my commitment to relieve student debt as borrowers recover from the economic crisis caused by the once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. And the way I think about it, and the way my dad used to talk about this, the way so many at home talk about it around the kitchen table, how much are the monthly bills, and how do you have to pay for those necessities? How much do you have? Is there enough just for a little breathing room, as my dad would say, left over after the end of the month? Our student loan plan lowers costs for Americans as they recover from the pandemic to give everybody a little more breathing room. I want to be clear who's going to benefit most. Working people, middle-class folks that earn under $125,000, you get up to $10,000 knocked off the debt, and if you earn under $125,000, you receive a Pell Grant, you get a $20,000 knocked off. And in total, more than 40 million Americans stand to benefit from this relief. For borrowers out of school, nearly 90% of the relief are going to go to people making under $75,000 a year. Let me be clear. Not a dime will go to the top 5% of incomes, period. It goes to people who really need it. And across America, nearly every Pell Grant recipient comes from a family making under $60,000. 2/3 come from families making under $30,000 a year. Here at Dell State, over 75% of the students are Pell Grant recipients. That matters for millions of working and middle-class people. Now let's talk about who's against helping the millions of you who need the help, who want to make sure you have a shot. Republican members of Congress and Republican governors are doing everything they can to deny this relief, even to their own constituents. As soon as I announced my administration's plan on student debt, they started attacking it, saying all kinds of things. Their outrage is wrong and it's hypocritical. But we're not letting them get away with it. They've been fighting us in the courts. But just yesterday, state court and the Supreme Court said, no, we're on Biden's side. I will never apologize for helping working and middle-class Americans as they recover from the pandemic, especially not to the same Republicans officials who voted for a $2 trillion tax cut that mainly benefited the wealthy Americans and the biggest corporations that wasn't paid for and racked up our deficit. I don't want to hear it from MAGA Republicans, officials who had hundreds of thousands of dollars of debts, even millions of dollars in pandemic relief loans forgiven, who now are attacking me for helping working class and middle class Americans. My team at the White House posted a video of this, folks, online. You should check it out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she and her husband got $180,000 in business loans forgiven from the PPP program. She said it's completely unfair for us to forgive student loans for working and middle class Americans. Representative Vern Buchanan of Florida said our plan was reckless. Guess how much he got in that program forgiven? $2,300,000. This is not a joke. Can't make this stuff up. Republican governors wrote me a letter saying this relief only helps the elite few. You all know you're the elite few? I knew you were really special, but I know you're the elite few. I'm serious. Ted Cruz, the great senator from Texas, he said it's for slackers, quote, slackers who don't deserve relief. Who in the hell do they think they are? But despite what Republican officials say, we can afford student relief. That's because the first 2 years of my administration, that's because of the historic deficit reduction, the very deficit reduction the Republicans voted against. This morning, my administration announced that this year the deficit fell. The federal deficit fell by $1.4 trillion just this year. The largest one-year drop in all of American history, $1.4 trillion. And it follows last year's historic drop in the deficit of $350 billion. And we're going to reduce the deficit by another $250 billion over the next decade. And the reason for that is because Medicare is going to be able to negotiate drug prices and lower the cost. We pay the highest drug prices of any nation in the world for the same drug. You can buy the same exact drug in a drugstore here in Dover or Wilmington. And if you go over to Paris, France, or anywhere in Europe, it can be as much as 40% to 60% less. Same exact drug. So, folks, I don't want to hear any weeping and gnashing of teeth from pharma, the big companies. Folks, in just 20 months since I've been in office, we've cut the deficit in half. And that's not all. In relieving student debt, we're also resuming student loan repayments that you're going to have to start to pay because we had this long period where no one had to pay because of the pandemic. So come January, folks whose debt isn't fully canceled are going to have to start paying the student loans off. That means billions of dollars a year are going to start coming back into the Treasury as well. My administration's plan is economically responsible and an economically responsible course to ensure a smooth transition to repayment and prevent unnecessary defaults. And it's also focused on going after fraudsters who call borrowers to pretend they're the government and want to help you with your loans. If you get a call, hang up. Not a joke. Let's be clear. Pay no attention to them because you never have to pay for help with your federal student loans. Don't listen to anyone who calls. I told you just go online. It's 4 questions. And if you get any questions, please report to the following website, reportfraud.ftc.gov. Report fraud. My message to the fraudsters looking to cheat the American people is, don't do it, man, because we're going to hold you accountable. We're going to come for you. My administration is also taking additional steps to make education a ticket to the middle class that folks can actually afford. For example, we're fixing what used to be called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This program forgives student loans to encourage those students to go into public service, public school teachers, local police officers, workers at local charities, members of the military, and the National Guard. So if you serve in one of these jobs, and you make your loan payments for 10 years, even if it's not consecutive years, the remainder of your balance will be completely forgiven. The remainder completely forgiven. The changes we've made expire, though, on October 31. So, folks, move quickly. So my message to all public servants out there with student debt is apply today. PSLF.gov, PSLF.gov, to get that loan forgiven.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse. All right, we're back, and that was the problem, folks. Somebody tried to hijack my account. They tried to hijack my account, and it was discovered. So I had to make a whole lot of changes, and then in the Speedy Gonzalez way, we got back our thread on Facebook. So you can watch us on Facebook as well. Of course, I love when you watch us on YouTube as well. Anyhow, so it's important for you to understand, folks, the opportunity is there for those who have loan payments to make. And this administration, first administration, gave the necessary forgiveness, the necessary support. And like he said, all those Republicans that are complaining, they didn't complain about the $2 million they got or anything like that. Hello, Robert Davenport, welcome aboard. Bridge MCP, welcome aboard. Bruce Pollard, welcome aboard. Who else we got that just came in? Let's see. What's going on? Your post goes against community standards? Really? What post is that one, I wonder? I don't see. I just got a message that says only the author of the post and people can manage it. What is this? On October 5th. Right now, we are under attack, folks. There's somebody out there that is really trying to get our accounts hacked. Because again, it's getting penetration. You see what I'm saying? So what we got, something went wrong. Look at this. Yep. They're really trying to get us right now because it looks like we're having issues again with Facebook. That is just amazing. They are trying to get at us, my friends. They're trying to get at us. It's amazing. I think this is about the third time this has happened to me in the history of politics done right, where they actually try to shut down the account by having a mass attack on your account. I don't know if you guys that are looking at politics done right can still see the account. Just let me know if you can still see the account on Facebook. Well, let me know if you can still see the account on Facebook. Those of you that are watching right now, are you still able to see our account on Facebook? Because it seems like it seems like something is happening right now in real time. It's working according to Michael Rudnan. It's still working. Okay, we'll see how long it stays up. But what it is that we started to get an attack. And the attack it's when the right wing decide, we found a channel that is trying to educate folks, that is trying to make people more intelligent. And then what they try to do is they try to make things as difficult, and they keep reporting you, and you keep fighting back because you know there's nothing wrong that you're doing. And then it suddenly comes back up, and then you keep fighting back because there's nothing that you're doing, and it keeps coming back up. Anyhow. We'll take care of some of these other things. I've gotten a bunch of similar DCMI takedowns. Welcome to FB jail. I made a bunch of memes like this. Yeah, well, they don't have me in jail. Egberto so popular, the Illuminati and the plutocracy trying to take him down. It's not that I am popular at all. It's that I'm accessible. There's a difference. June Litter FB was off for about 12 minutes. Yes, I hear you, June. West, Smokey. Okay. Anyhow, I have another video for you guys, but beforehand, before we go into the video, I want to talk about what the other subject that we had for today, and that had to do with Venezuela. I had a great conversation on KPFT today with a caller who took offense to me saying, not supporting Hugo Chavez, but having anything nice to say about Hugo and the poor people in Venezuela. And while we didn't come to a consensus as yet, he promised that he is going to call back and that we were going to continue the conversation. But my premise is this. He said, one of the things that he said, and I think this applies to America as well. He said, when Hugo Chavez came into power, he created a climate where it was the rich against the poor. A climate that created a friction between the rich and the poor. And he said that friction shouldn't exist, et cetera, et cetera. To which I asked him a particular question, because a lot of people don't like, rich envy and all of that. It's not about rich envy. It's about the rich doing the wrong thing. Let me give an example. He said before, when there was the democracy rule in Venezuela, quote unquote democracy, when Carlos Andrés Pérez and others were the governor or the leaders of their land in Venezuela, that somehow people were happy and there wasn't the friction between the rich and the poor. And also people got things very cheaply. Why? Because yes, the country had a lot of oil and they had giveaways for the people in Venezuela, etc. And people liked that, so they kept quiet. What I was trying to explain to the good caller is that in effect, Carlos Andrés Pérez and all his predecessors were paying off the poor. You give them just enough money to keep them quiet and happy. In the parlance of our political game, there's this stuff called bread and circus. How did the king stay in power? And what he did was he kept his people entertained and also fed. And that's what's occurring in America right now. We keep people entertained. You watch a lot of reality TV. We have a lot of this draconian stuff that you turn on ABC, CBS, and all these stations, and you're just having fun, and you're Big Brother, and all these different programs that you see out there. Keep people entertained. I tell you what, if I used to watch Jerry Springer or Big Brother or any one of these things, look, I think I'm a fairly smart guy sometimes, And I watch these programs, and there is something with these programs where you gravitate towards them, right? And I would start watching it, just say, let me see this crappy stuff. Let me see what it's all about. And there's something in these programs that draw you in, right? Keep you entertained. And in America, we still have cheap food. Comparatively, we have a lot of cheap food. When you look at the things that you can get for cheap, all the bad food you can get for cheap in America, that's what you do. So you keep folks entertained and fed. In America, entertained and fed for those people who matter, those people who vote. And then they don't complain whether they're poor or not. That's why the Republicans can have so many supporters who shouldn't be supporting them, right? That's why. Keep them a little bit entertained and keep them a little bit fed. Michael Rodnitz asked me to read this one, read this one out. He said, Egberto, mind reading this one out for Eric. He said something the reverse of what's true again. A hallmark of dangerous speech is tell people that they face a mortal threat from a disfavored or minority group, which makes violence seem not just acceptable but necessary. This hallmark has been dubbed accusation in a mirror because it asserts the violence would come from the opposite side, from those who are actually would be victim of violence. How can one know which speech is dangerous? One must make an educated systemic guess. Dangerous speech cannot be identified solely by the hallmarks or by aspect of content, since its capacity to inspire violence depends so much on context, on who spreads it and to whom and in what social and historical context. Very, very smart. Bread and circus, student loan debt, the modern equivalent. Nope, not a modern equivalent at all. Not a modern equivalent at all. Paul Fleming says, under Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, he removed many people of color from election boards. I will keep watch of this. Keep us informed about that, Senor Fleming. Melanie Keelan says, cuando la vida es dura, Se come verdura. Oh, I love that. She says, when life is difficult, you eat not legumes, verdura. You need vegetables, that kind of stuff. Okay. Tom C says, Daniel Edo, military tribunals to silence politics done right, and Egberto. So you are against free speech. Sure sign of fascism. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Tom C. It sure is fascism. But, you know, the guys effecting fascism, somehow it goes past them. Okay, and a lot of new people came into the fold since we had that hiccup at the beginning. Peggy Lopez, welcome aboard. Let's see who else came in. We also have in the house, coming down, Bruce Pollard says, you made it back from Caroline Studio. Yes, I had to race back because I had to make a quick stop. I had to make a quick stop to Costco. So you know how that goes. That quick stop to Costco and then come on home. Also in the house, Yvette Avery Herod said she can't see on YouTube either. Gave her link again. Thank you so kindly for doing that for us. We got Lee Grant says, Egberto, you need to tell folks in Seattle how they're mistaken about crime. They're leaving for no reason. New York Post had relocated employees from Seattle office after violent crime surge. Oh boy, I love the way you say that. Politics Done Right with Egberto. During the broadcast, you can support my page by sending stars, a digital gift, and help me earn. Oh, that is my automatic thing that came out for whenever the page comes up. Bridge MCP say, hit that thumbs up. Peeps, please do, folks. Please hit that thumbs up. Very important. Also, what else have we got here? Hey, Yvette Avery Herod, message to you. FB is working. Thank you very much, Yvette. Michael Rodney says, Business Insider, here are the Republicans the White House put on blast for bashing student loans and forgiveness. Thank you for that, Michael. And guess what? Now that you say that, this is important message that I'm going to have to copy down because I want to put that in a video as well. Robert Davenport is in the house. He says, greeting progressives. A Miami judge dismissed 20 voter fraud charges by DeSantis. I love it. Dismissed. The crook DeSantis. We have separation of church and state and stupid and must keep it that way. Daniel Edo replying to Robert Davenport says, whoa there, buddy. No need for insults. Oh, boy. Let's see what else we got. YouTube is good to have both comments. I am by chatter. There you go, girl. Egberto, your wheelhouse. 8-minute documentary by Abby Martin in U.S. Haiti history and current situation there. I am glad you say that. I need to kind of brush up on that. Thank you for that, E2247. Yvette Avery Harvard said, Herod says she's in the house. Robert Davenport says he sees. Let's continue. Daniel says, I'm just in the process of downloading evidence of your crimes for tribunals. I will return control to your Facebook account momentarily. Well, I do appreciate that, Daniel Ledo. I do appreciate that. I can always count on you, sir. I dropped FB and went to YouTube, according to Bruce. June Littler says, YouTube is coming through fine here. Thank you very much, June. And let's see what else we got here before we continue. E2247, Egberto, conspiracy is not only how many persons stay silent. Conspiracy is also tactics used to keep persons silent. Smart statement. Eric says, perfect take on energy issues, self-inflicting due to policy, and it doesn't matter how much the administration blames and deflects. It needs to look into the mirror. Again, you have a cognition problem, sir, if you really believe that. Let's see what else we got here. Under Governor Bryant, I read that one already. And continue. Legumes and vegetables are not too expensive and nourishing. Thank you, Keelan. My dear Melanie, you're absolutely true. May Wood says, good afternoon, everybody. Was having problems getting into YouTube, and I understand that FB Fed is down. It's back up now. P.S. Egberto Willis, I took down the post on FB. Okay, what post was it? I am not sure what it was. I don't know what it was. Thank you for taking it down, though. There's always friction between rich and poor. We're done. Elect people to manufacture excuses about that. Okay, let's see what else we got. Peggy Lopez says, gladiators and Christians' lions from Roman days was also keep them entertained and docile. You got all those perfect analogies. AVQ to Eric Hayes says, the friction between rich and poor isn't necessary. if we can uplift poor out of poverty. Exactly. But the problem is the rich is directly responsible for the problems of the poor. Let me give an example. Right now, the reason we are not providing a lot of social services is that the rich doesn't want to pay their fair share. Why does Bezos have several $100 billion that he owns, or several near $200 billion that he owns? He doesn't deserve that. He didn't make that. He didn't earn that. But in not giving back to taxes as he must, as he should, but buying politicians to prevent that reality, a lot of people that would otherwise get education support for nourishment, all these other supports that would allow them to be effective and independent citizens, it's not there anymore because they take more than they deserve. And that by taking more than they deserve, they isolate those who need. It is that simple. No magic here at all. Robert Davenport says, Ledo, stop making tribunal checks. Threats, you are letting your fascist fantasies intrude upon really again. Lefty again, really again, reality again. Do you know where your meds are? I love that's kind of funny. Crystal Ball, and you spell crystal wrong. Crystal is spelled with a K. Crystal Ball administration predicting oil prices now. The government will refill reserve when price hits 70. No problem. There's Nostradamus playing the fossil lottery here. No, that was a smart move by Biden. He wants prices to get to 70. And you know what's going to happen? Let me tell you what's going to happen. Prices are going to look and say, wait, the government is trying to fill at 70. We have a new floor, right? A new floor. Remember back in the pandemic, the floor was negative. Now we got a new floor. And Biden is saying, I am going to set the floor at 70 so that when it drops to 70, it doesn't start. Well, that's another story. We'll talk about that at some other time. Lee Grant says, Egberto, you need to tell folks in Seattle how they're mistaken about crime. I don't need to do that because I can let you, Egberto, the post about FB down, go to YouTube. Okay. Biden can't even remember his ice cream flavors. Sometimes I can't either. But can you tell me when that happened? Anyhow, for those of you who look at crime and crime the same all of the time, I want to play this one for you, and then we'll take it on the other side. You know, the Republicans have been talking crime, as if they have a solution to crime. As this panelist has to say, it's amazing that they cannot look at data. They cannot look at real solutions. Instead, always have the same draconian methods. Lock them up, put more cops on the streets. And what we've gained from all of that, not any reduction in crime. What we've gotten is just police brutality along with quite a bit more. And I don't want to just centralize on police brutality. We know there are cops who do a good job, and you know these communities need cops. But again, if you want to use a hammer on every problem, you get it creates issues. Listen to what this guy had to say, because what he's saying makes a whole lot of sense.
How should candidates of either party actually be talking to voters about crime? What would a reasonable dialogue about crime rates that are in fact rising? They're not where they were in the 80s, but they have in fact risen. What would that reasonable dialogue be like?
Well, the first thing that I think we have to do is we have to stop sensationalizing America's crime problem, because that leads to inaccurate narratives that then also gives rise to improper solutions that focus on symptoms rather than systems. And so what do I mean by that? We have to understand and look at what it is that we know. We know that roughly 80% of the crime that occurs in this country is nonviolent, low-level misdemeanor, and or traffic violations. So that leaves about 20% of violent crime, which admittedly is still on the rise, but does not at all compare to the overall majority of the crime that is occurring. That's the first thing, is that the framing focuses on violent crime when violent crime is not at all a significant majority of what's occurring. What does that do? What do we know? Well, we know, in addition to those statistics, that the GOP, generally speaking, and the right has given up on anything that resembles the notion of inclusion with respect to the voters that it is courting. The significance of that is that they have now turned to a strategy that sensationalizes crime, that weaponizes crime, and that racializes crime to unfortunately engage a certain demographic of their voting base that is receptive to these tactics. Because of that, it gets away from actual data-driven solutions like creating employment opportunities, like investing in local economies, and addressing the things that actually create crime rather than, and those are systemic, rather than addressing symptoms like let's fund more police, let's build more jails, let's lock people up. Anyone who was around for the crime bill in the 90s will tell you that that is not a viable nor sustainable solution. And so we've got to get away from it. The sensationalizing of crime and that narrative is exactly why you're more likely to hear people talk about a roundup of gang members in Bed-Stuy where there are no gun factories, for example, instead of talking about Brett Favre, for example, who is right now having trouble with respect to millions of dollars of misappropriation. That's how that racialization, that's how that weaponization of crime occurs, and it distorts the narrative significantly.
So it's, in a sense, we need to look at the data. We need to look at causality. We need to ensure that the solutions that we have to whatever crime problems we have is based on data. Here is the interesting thing, however. If you look at the red state has more crime than the blue states. And what's the factor in there again? Laissez-faire guns, laissez-faire gun laws. You have more guns, you have more incidents of using it. You have more incidents of using it, you have more crime. And that is exactly what the data says. It's exactly what it says. If you want, what I tell people a lot of times, and people think I'm hyperventilating about it, but it's not true. Republican politicians are a clear and present danger to your health, a clear and present danger to your life, a clear and present danger to your personal economy. And that is such an important concept to understand. They are a clear and present danger to everything that I've just said before. Tom C. says Biden is selling oil from the reserves at high price and will buy back oil when prices go down. Result, profit for federal government and taxpayers to reduce deficit and national debt. Exactly, Tom. You see it. You're a smart man, sir. Robert Davenport says, why not tell the people in Oklahoma about crime under their current Republican leadership? The facts are that they have no actual plan to address the crime and its true origins. And I have a piece on that with the debate between the Democrat running against the Republican governor, whose crime rate is higher than the crime rate in New York or the crime rate in California. Good old Oklahoma. You see, the red states, the crime rate's a lot higher than it is in blue states, but they don't like to admit it. You go ahead and create a laissez-faire gun-touting people and you keep a lot of your population uneducated, then what you get is exactly what you have in uneducated areas, which is high crime, little value for life, because people feel like they don't have where to go. They don't have where to go. Hard on crime policy leads to mass incarceration. It's a horrible solution, according to Michael Rudnin. Soft on crime policy looks at the causes of crime and seeks to alleviate the problem. To be clear, the desperation that comes from poverty is the primary cause of crime. Lead in drinking water is secondary cause of crime. You want to lower crime rates, we need more social welfare and infrastructure investment. I could not have said that any better, El Señor Rodnin. That is a perfect statement of fact. Perfect statement of fact. All right, continuing. Ledo, that feeling was lack of oxygen to your already malfunctioning brain. Oh, Lord. Biden says, Eric Hayes says, Biden won't buy back any freaking oil. This is his plan to drain it all. And it's just like the overspending thoughts. Oh, my God. Who told you that? I can imagine who told you that. Okay, from Michael Rudnin, third way. We found that murder rates are on average 40% higher in the 25 states Donald Trump won in the last presidential election compared to those who voted for Joe Biden. In addition, murder rates in many of these red states dwarf those in blue states like New York, California, or Massachusetts. And finally, many of the states with the worst murder rates, like Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina, and Arkansas, are ones that few people describe as urban. Only 2 of America's top 100 cities in populations are located in these high murder states. And not a single one of the top 10 murder states register in the top 15 for population density. Whether one does or does not blame Republican leaders for high murder rates, it seems that Republican office holders do a better job of blaming Democrats for lethal crime than actually reducing lethal crime. I think they must be blamed. Lee Grant says, I'll be voting for clear and present dangers in the midterms. Join me. Then what can I say? I still have time to fix you, man. I still have time to fix you. Then that's why you're here every day, Lee Grant. I'm going to fix you, my brother. You know, I love you so much that I have got to make sure you do what's best for you. Bridge MCP, I think Robert D came to FB chat cause he is sick of not being able to reply to some peeps. Yay, Robert. Bruce says, it seems like your team is aligning pretty well to agreeing on common needs. Look, I mean, the thing about it is we don't have a lot of differences. What we have is a lot of people that try to create it. That's why my show was on hate today. If I can get others to hate, I can tell them anything about that person they hate or the people that person they hate hangs around, and that is going to be their modus operandi. Lee Grant says, go Abbott. I say, go Beto. And you're going to vote for Beto, Lee. You're going to vote for Beto, Lee. All right. Let's see. Replying to Davenport. But funny, but I am consoled by the fact that in 20 days, you will be having that feeling that all is lost and America is further descending into fascism. Delicious. Oh, Rudnin. You need to speak to Norman about the experiment that we spoke about today. I don't remember what it's called. I got to remember that. I got to remember the 2 experiments. We spoke about the blue-eyed, brown-eye experiment by Alice. What's the name? Blue-eyed, brown-eye experiment. I can't remember who did it. Anyway, it's 18. Pay attention. Okay, folks, here we go with our ask.
Politics Done Right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, How to Make America Utopia, are 2 of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books.
And folks, please don't forget to support my new blog, my new podcast. You can go to anchor.fm/Egberto Willies/subscribe. Anchor.fm/Egberto Willies/subscribe. And I have it there. We need hundreds of supporters, paid supporters, that is. It's very cheap. It's less than getting yours truly a cup of coffee. Please consider becoming, and you can watch it, the videos and all the outtakes that I have on Spotify, anywhere. Let's see. Daniel Liddell says, I predict that Democrats will suddenly have a change of heart when it comes to denying elections. I don't think so. I mean, if you guys win, you win. Does Shakula Hairstylist says, does he have more than you, Lee? How about Greg Abbott? Is he not wealthy? Yes, he's wealthy. By the way, I didn't salute you, Shakula Hairstylist. Welcome to Politics Done Right. And if there's anybody else I hadn't seen that dropped in, welcome aboard. Money and fascism eat themselves is what Shakula says as well. All right, I have one last video that I need to get out before we end this baby. And it's the one that we're spoken about with the governor of, the governor of Oklahoma. I think his name is Stitt. And Joy, I don't remember what Joy last name is. Hoffmeister, I think it is. Check this out. We'll then take it on the other side. You know, Republicans are using the crime issue as the big thing to attack Democrats with, right? So then what we should really be doing is looking at the outcomes in Republican-driven areas versus Democratic-driven areas, right? Or states, for that matter. And it turns out that just as Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, came out and said, how can Democrats possibly lose the crime message where crime is exploding in states generally controlled by Republicans, red states? There was a great piece or a great activity that occurred during a debate, a great incident that occurred during a debate where the challenger looked at the governor of Oklahoma and she said, you know, under you, governor of Oklahoma, crime rate was doubled. It was greater than it was in California or New York. And the governor mocked her. And the people in the audience was like, sighed. And the moderator actually even got involved and said, we're going to have to fact check that. And it turns out she knew it. She was right. I want you to listen to this piece and then we'll take it on the other side.
Look at the Oklahoma debate the other night, and you see that crime is rising. Some studies show even more in red state America.
So in this debate on Wednesday night, Oklahoma's Democratic gubernatorial nominee Joy Hoffmeister was mocked after correctly claiming that violent crime rates are higher in Oklahoma than they are in New York and California. Take a look at this.
So let's talk about the facts. The fact is the rates of violent crime are higher in Oklahoma under your watch than in New York and California. That's a fact.
Well, we'll have that fact checked by the Frontier Superintendent.
It's also a fact that medical marijuana...
Oklahomans, do you believe we have higher crime than New York or California? That's what she just said.
Safety and security is my top priority, and it will be as governor.
Yeah, that is what she just said.
Yeah,
and
it's also right.
Yeah, Oklahoma's Republican Governor Kevin Stitt interrupted her twice, saying it wasn't true in that demeaning and condescending way. But as you said, Joe Hoffmeister is right. He's wrong. According to the CDC, Oklahoma has a homicide rate of 9 deaths per 100,000 people compared with California's rate of 6.1 and New York's rate of 4.7.
So Oklahoma's rate for homicide is twice that per capita as New York.
And based on the FBI's 2022 crime report, Oklahoma recorded nearly 15,700 violent crimes. That's 393 for every 100,000 people. Oklahoma also has the 10th highest violent crime rate in the U.S. among states reported. So, Gene Robinson, I'll toss this to you for reaction. But again, I was taken aback by how condescending the crowd appeared to be. Even the moderator, well, we'll have to check that fact, not knowing their state's information, and her opponent when she was 100% right.
One of the problems that we have with Democrats is they don't know how to stick the narrative and not just do it as a professor, but go out there and tell the governor of Oklahoma, you are killing Oklahomans with your policy. You're doing so badly that it is even safer to live in New York or California. You have to do that with each of these guys that come out with the with the crime is going higher under Democrats. It's so imperative that you come out there and let it be known the crime problem is a Republican problem. Why is it a Republican problem? Not only that the Republican states have more crime. Republican states have more gun crimes. Why? Because these are the states where they have laissez-faire gun policies. So therefore, Republicans are detrimental to your health. Republicans are detrimental to your survival. Because again, the policies they support kills. I repeat, it's not only and we can not only drive that with criminality, because we know that criminality is preponderant in the Republican sphere. Just look at Donald Trump. He is an outright thug, a mob boss operating thug. And you look at other of these politicians, that's just the modus operandi. And then they put on a facade of innocence. We look at the religiosity of many. We're raping children, having ministers that have all that continue. It's a criminal enterprise. And by the leaders of the Republican Party, by the big supporters of the Republican Party, it's nothing but a criminal enterprise. And that Democrats are unable to stick that, from the evangelical churches and their sex problems to Donald Trump, their master leader, and his sex and theft problems and country overthrowing problems, to every single one of these guys. You cannot lose, or you must not lose, to a party that is based on criminality. Absolutely not. You can't lose to a party based on criminality. And by the way, Eric Hayes thought he was going to come with an answer why Republican states, the states that are run by Republican governors and Republican House of Representatives and Republican Senates, right? Why is it that their crime rate is higher? So Eric Hayes thinks he has an answer. Well, you're looking at Democratic cities in Republican states. Nope. Let's go ahead and do the numbers. Like I said, we believe in facts here. Just facts. That's all we want. Facts, okay? David Holt, mayor of Oklahoma City. All right? And guess what? In Oklahoma City, it's 666 violent crimes per 100,000 residents. That's far higher than the rate in New York City and California. That's a fact. Let's continue a bit. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Mayor G.T. Bynum, Republican, just like was David Holt, Republican. Bynum, Republican, and crime rate in their 11 violent crimes, 60 total per 1,000 people. Again, it doesn't matter. Governor of red state or mayor of a city. Guess what? Crime rate higher than California and where again? Nueva York. So no, you are absolutely wrong. You must do, again, it is important. You don't come to politics done right to hear misinformation, disinformation, ill information, or anything like that. You come here to get the facts. And what you attempted to do is mitigate that the people who we should be dragging through the mud about crime rates is Republican policies. Republican policies are conducive to crime. But when you're run by criminals, that's what you would expect. And by the way, and when I say that, I'm not saying that just like heroically, right? Trump has taught, especially now, Republicans how to get away with criminality. And by the way, thank you for Jane Elliott for pointing out that Jane Elliott was the person who did the blue eye, brown eye experiment. I have the smartest people here. Michael says, Lee Grant, conservatives who fear crime so much that they stay out of cities are cowards. But he says some come here to either give false facts wear blinders and some to annoy us. Look into Daniel. Let me tell you something. What is great is this, right? I like when they make fools of themselves with regards to this information, because there are a lot of people who want to put that same information like them. And when they get to our podcast, when it's going into rebroadcast or when they pull it, download it or whatever, the truth comes out. And then people get to see, like, now I'm showing them on the screen. The truth of the matter is, no, it's not just that. It's not Democratic cities in Republican states. It's Republican criminality. Egberto loves truth and numbers and joy. Hypocritical people flood mitigated dollars are definitely not going where Lena Ida. Oh, God, now you change the subject. Bruce says, you can read about that experiment in Cost. Oh, yes. Norman spoke a whole lot about that. And by the way, folks, Norman Reynolds was my guest at Politics Done Right today at KPFT. And he actually answered the phones. And he had quite a few phone calls to handle for us today. Sharkula Hairstylist says, this is the most open talk chat ever on the internet. Thank you so kindly. I intend to keep it that way. Hey, Breach, could you drop me a line and let me know which thing was causing that community standard violation? I'm not sure what it was that caused it. So if you could let me know what caused it. I don't know if I can pull it up right now if you deleted it. So let me know so I can actually make a complaint or something like that, because we try not to violate anything. We try to follow all the rules. Can I come on and do smoke rings and talk about games I beat? Sharkula Hairstylist, if you live in Houston and you want to come and sit in our show, you can always sit with me. Absolutely. If you are into Politics Done Right, you are family. If you're into Politics Done Right, that will be, again, we're family. All of us here, left, right, middle, everywhere, we are together. We are not going to fight each other. And don't listen to Brother Ledo when Brother Ledo says, oh, I'm getting ready for the tribunal. He's going to see me at the tribunal and he's going to give me a real big fat hug. And he said, Egberto, I'm so sorry. Anyhow, folks, we got to get out of here. Please remember to support our program as best that you can. I need a lot of support. Now, Egberto Willies, it has to do with your email because I was able to post. Thank you very much for that information, Bridge. Thank you so kindly. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. The right-winger Puritan talking points like Ledo are useful. It is, oh boy. All right, let's go ahead and give you one last bit of information to say, please support the program. Our all-encompassing link for support is at politicsdoneright.com/support. And you can support us as well at PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.